This is the 2021 Rocky Mountain Altitude, an enduro race machine that's already seen an EWS win under Canadian superstar Jesse Melamed. With 170 millimeters of travel up front, 160 millimeters in the rear, and 29-inch wheels, this definitely falls into the category of big bikes, but it doesn't necessarily ride like one. Or at least, that's up to you. Rocky have gone a bit wild with bike customization. The Altitude uses their Ride 9 system that offers 9 unique geometry settings, allowing you to tune this bike to fit almost any riding style. This is accomplished with a flip chip for adjusting the rear center length, and another flip chip on the shock, adjusting all sorts of angles and heights. I've opted to keep the rear end short and the head tube angle slack, and that's added up to quite a fun bike. So, let's take this thing out in the North Shore, exactly where it was designed to ride. Alright, so we're aboard the 2021 Rocky Mountain Altitude. This is the top of the line version, retailing at 12,500 Canadian with all the fanciest bits. Fox 38, Kashima coating, Grip 2, Vault hubs, XTR drivetrain and brakes, everything you could want. And I'm here on the North Shore, Mount Seymour. Gonna go take this thing down some trails that I know really well and see how I like it. So let's go to the climb trail and let's talk about how it climbs. Alright, so we're on climb trail. It's a nice climb trail, pretty mellow, nothing too crazy. And I'd say this bike climbs quite well, but I think I'm noticing a bit of bob in the suspension, even with the X2 set to firm. And I think, I'm going to guess, that has something to do with there not being as much anti-squat as compared to my Enduro. Now, I don't know too much about kinematics and all that kind of stuff, but I can just tell you what I feel. It still climbs quite good, even with max grip, double down tires, front and rear, which I usually find affect a bike's climbing the most, whether you have huge, big tires or not. For me, it plays a huge factor. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the climbing. It'll get you up the hill. Feels a little more bobby than something like the Enduro, but so far a little bit easier than, say, something like the Chilcotin or the Slayer. So let's just skip to the top. Alright, let's go down corkscrew, see how this does. Ooh. Hi. Ooh, yeah. So this bike has a little less travel in the rear than the Enduro, 160 mil versus the 170 on the Enduro. And I think I can feel a little bit. This bike feels a bit more snappy, a bit more, I guess, harsh in the rear, but not really, because it's quite soft. But the bike overall definitely feels sharper. So if we're talking about, say, the Chilcotin was the most downhill bike-esque Enduro I've ridden. And then we probably have the Slayer after that. Definitely bikes I'd ride in the park. And then we have something like the Enduro, which is, you know, a little more pedal friendly, a little snappier, a little poppier. And then I'd say we have this bike, you know, definitely sharper, snappier. And then after that, we have things like, I say, like the Sight that I rode, which is even a little bit shorter travel, with 150 in the rear, 160 mil fork. Ooh. But I really like the 38 on this thing. For a bigger guy like me who rides, I guess, hard enough, the Zeb and the 38, yeah, I like those a lot. All right, let's go ride some more tech at Pingu. All right, on to Pingu. Fast, super chunky trail, which definitely makes you appreciate 29er and a lot of suspension. Yeah, and I don't really notice the shorter suspension here in the rear. Maybe because the 38 in the front makes up for it, or the kinematics just feel good enough anyway. Oh, a lot of sand in my eye there. I do find this thing pedals a little nicer, or at least has maybe a bit more get up and go than the Enduro, which I appreciate on these flat sections. All right, see how this bike does on a pretty flat section. One thing I do like about this bike is the Ride 9, because a lot of companies are going with that big long back end, and this bike can have one, but you can also have it in the short position. And since I've been riding bikes with long back ends, mainly the Enduro, I've opted to keep it in the shorter position, which is about 437 mil rear chainstay. So not crazy short, but short enough. Then you can also steepen or slacken the head tube angle, which also affects the kinematics of the suspension, making it more or less progressive. So you can get a nice steep head tube angle, better for those aggressive climbs, or slacken it out for the bike park. Oh. Yeah, for a big enduro bike, this thing's got some agility to it, that's for sure. All right, let's do some pretty tight little tech move here called Dear John, right before we do the flow of John Deere. So come down here, get it pretty tight. Oh yeah, that's it. Usually pretty. Oh yeah. Oh, rocks. That's usually pretty tricky on the Enduro, but this thing, no problem. Height. All right, so on to John Deere. Let's see how this thing does. Flow, I imagine, pretty well, since I've got it. Nice short chainstay for the corners. Got the max grip tires. Oh, got not the slackest setting. I think it's one more than neutral right now, which I think just puts me just under 65 degrees. So not super slack. Should be good, and it is good. I definitely feel quick on this thing. Oh, big rock. Oh, big rock. A lot of big rocks on the trail. Ooh, definitely oversteering. Oh, big tree down. Oversteering from being used to the Enduro, I think. Don't need to steer so much, which I actually like. I think for my next bike, yeah, I want something a little more turn friendly. Oh yeah. So I could definitely notice the 38 and the Zeb on these bikes I'm trying. I think most brands are putting those forks on sort of their big mountain bikes, as in like the Chilcotin or the Slayer. But I think on this enduro bike, it's a good choice. At least that's the choice I would make. I think even if I was riding something like the Sight or say the Evil Offering, I would still put a Zeb or a 38 on it, just because I think I'm a little bit of a bigger guy and I can definitely notice that stiffness, so the weight penalty is totally worth it. Oh yeah, definitely getting along with this bike quite a bit. So if you know my style of riding and you're wondering about bikes, I like this bike. I think something like the Slayer, well, I like the Slayer and I like the Chilcotin. A lot of people notice my confidence on the Chilcotin, but those bikes are just hard to get around to have every day. I think the altitude fits into a nice category where I could ride this thing every day. Now we're gonna go down Boogeyman, classic North Shore double black, one of my favorites. Kind of a flowy-ish, janky sort of trail. Tech flow of sorts, I guess. Oh yeah. Woohoo. I think Rocky has found a nice balance between amount of suspension and you know, nimbleness and all that with this bike. I think it strikes the right spot for something I'd like. Woohoo! Nice greasy log ride. If you're gonna ride a bike from the North Shore, you gotta do the skinnies. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about this bike. I just keep on wanting to say I like it, which doesn't tell you guys too much. But I would say if you like 29ers, you want an enduro bike, you want something that's pretty long travel, so more on the enduro side than all mountain, this could definitely be the bike for you. It can smash, that's for sure. Oh, and you can change direction reasonably quick, like I did right there before I fell off that little bridge. And I definitely like that you can change the geometry. I like playing around with bikes a lot. I like changing bikes, and it's like having a bunch of different bikes with this thing. Long chainstay, short chainstay, really slack, you know, reasonably steep at tube angles. It's got it all. And so this bike definitely fits a wide market, that's for sure. Now you might say like, oh, The Ride 9 is kind of gimmicky, and I would probably find a setting I like and keep it there, but that's just it. For someone like me who wants a short chainstay right now, I could ride this bike, and then for those people who are looking for long chainstays, they can ride this bike, and I think that's just pretty neat. Oh, am I gonna fall off? No. Haha. The suspension, the rear, well, and the fork too, but the rear kinematics definitely feel plush. Definitely on the plush side, which again I mentioned I think causes the bobbing when you pedal, but that means it feels just real nice on the way down. Let's see if the max grip can handle the slippery log of death. Oh yeah, a little teeter. Oh yeah, love that thing. Nice new trail work here, thanks to the builders and the NSMBA. Have a good ride. Whoo! This thing shreds the jumps. Oh, I think, not a huge fan of that double right there, but I was actually feeling pretty good on this bike. A little faster out of that corner. Woohoo! Oh, oh gosh. Oh. This thing jumps really well, but definitely a little different to my enduro. Let's try a little nose bog here. Never. Oh, did not do that right. But I think I could do a little nose bog there. Usually I jump it, but time to switch it up. Oh yeah. This thing is fun on the jumps. All right, let's see how this bike handles the double black jank known as Empress, which is pretty much this big rock roll. Max grip tires coming in handy right there, and right here too. Go down the rock nice and slow. All right, so far feeling quite in control on this bike. Easy little back wheel pivot there. And come along here. Steep head tube angle and short chainstays helping with the lineup. And then lots of brakes here. Don't want to slide too much. And down into the little boom. Yes. That trail is always a lot of effort to clear for me. And that went quite smoothly, if I don't say so myself. All right, let's just finish this right off. Whew. All right, so who's this bike for? I think it's for someone like me. But if you are like an enduro racer, you want to ride the park, you want to do it all kind of bike that still pedals all right, but it isn't something as big as like the Chilcotin or the new Shore or the Slayer, this bike makes a lot of sense. Woo! Haha! And if you like to fiddle with your bike, the Ride 9 is really cool. You know, short chainstays, long chainstays, whatever you want. And if you want to see these videos a week early, know what bike I'm going to get next and all that sort of stuff, join the Discord group, head over to Patreon. It's worth the channel a lot, and we have a lot of fun over there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions about the altitude, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.